Okay, if you think the market's changing, buyers, we got some news for you. And sellers, if you've been avoiding selling because of tax consequences, we might be able to help you out. And for both of you, we're going to bring you up on the market today. We are going to see what's going on in Orange County, and we're going to look specifically at the 3 Tustin markets. I am Dean Odell with Seven Gables Real Estate in the Odell Group. Today is November 16th, and it's time for another Tustin Talks. Let's get started with the charts. So this is kind of interesting. We're following the blue line. We're almost up to 2,500 homes. Normally during this time of year, look at all the rest of the years there on the chart, the market's normally dropping off of inventory. Remember, we were flatlining for a while, and then last Tustin Talks, we started saying, hey, you know what? We're climbing a little bit, and guess what? We climbed just a little bit more, so a little bit different. Kind of interesting, right? 2 weeks ago, we had 2406 for homes in the market. Last year, 3581, and 3 years before that, 5,822. So you can see we're still below the averages. Let's move on to the next chart. Okay, now looking at demand over the last 30 days, you're going to notice that blue line is on the downtrend, which is normal. Look at all the other years. That's what normally happens this time of year. So interesting that our inventory is going up while our demand is going down. Last 30 days, we had 1,223 homes that went into escrow. 2 weeks before that, 1,284. Last year, 1,202. And the 3-year average, 2,139. So you can see we are still way down on demand, what would be considered normal 3 years ago. And honestly, 3 years ago, that average was still below normal. So let's see where this market takes us. Let's look at the next slide. Orange County expected marketing time. So you can see we are at 61 days. If you look at the legend there, you'll see that 61 days is a slight seller's market. 2 weeks ago, we were at 56, which was a hot seller's market. And last year, 89, which was almost a balanced market. And you can see the 3-year average at 85 days is about the same, almost a balanced market coming into this time of year. So we actually do have a fairly strong market. But we always want to look at that buy price range. And if we do that, what you're going to see is the hot sellers market, that goes up to about 1.5 million. And look at that marketing time. I mean, when you look at the 1.25 to 1.5 range, it's almost half of what it was last year. So it's really interesting, right? I mean, there's a lot of demand relative to the inventory, as you can see on the columns there. Now, once you go over 1.5, things change a little bit. That 1.5 to 2 million, last show, that was a balanced market, and it's gone back to a slight seller's market. So, we have had a drop in interest rates the last couple of weeks, and it seems like that has helped to fuel the market, contrary to the fact this is the time of year where the market starts to drop off. Over 2, you can see it starts to change again. We go to a balanced market, deep buyer's market 4 to 6, and over 6, a really deep market, right? 469 days, man. That's like a year and a half to get your house sold. That's crazy. There's not much inventory in that price range in general. It's 9% of the market is over 6 million, about 1 out of every 10, 11 houses, right? And then the demand is only 1%. So you got almost, 10, 11 houses, 9, 11 houses, somewhere in there for every single buyer. So a lot of choices there, and the sellers could definitely have to be price competitive in that price range. Okay, now we are going to move to the Tustin chart where we look at the 3 zip codes and we're comparing this year in October to last year in October. So going across for sale row there and looking at the different columns, you can see all for sales are down throughout all our North Tustin, and Tustin Ranch, Tustin Legacy zip codes. We are down for sure in the total inventory for sale. Now, when we look at the new listings that happened over the last 30 days versus October of last year's 30-day period, you can see that we actually were up a little bit in North Tustin and down in Tustin and up quite a bit in Tustin Ranch Legacy area. If you look at the solds, you can see that we are down a little bit, just barely here in North Tustin, and same with Tustin, but in the Tustin Ranch, Tustin Legacy area, the sales were down quite a bit. So then you go to months of inventory, which is always interesting. You can see that in North Tustin, we could sell out our inventory in 1.6 months versus 2.9 months. In 92780, we could sell it out in less than a month versus last year's year's 1.6 months. And in 92782, we could do it in 1.9 versus 1.6. So that just assumes that no other houses come on the market and we just keep selling at the pace we're selling. So you can go down the rest of those columns and the rest of those rows and see how everything plays out by zip code. You'll see there's some consistency there. And I think the biggest takeaway is you look at the average days on the market, what it's taking to sell. And North Tustin's about the same. It's only down a day. Tustin, about, half the time as last year. And Tustin Ranch, Tustin Legacy, definitely less time. So a faster moving market for sure, reflected in average days on the market and months of inventory. Those are both saying the same thing, which means those are accurate numbers. So it's going to be real interesting to look at the November data when it comes in and see how it compares to this Tustin Talks. In the meantime, we are going to move to my advice for buyers and sellers. Okay, buyers. So what you will notice is that demand isn't really dropping off all that much relative to last year at this time. The good news for you guys is right now inventory is actually climbing. It's actually giving you some more choices, and interest rates have dropped a little bit in the last month. But remember my advice, as always, this is not a market to get FOMO, right? Fear of missing out. This is a market where you're buying for the long term because you're finding the house you want. Because the reality is, this is a very expensive time to be buying a house, and you want to make sure you don't get trapped or lose money by wanting to move too soon. So I will tell you what I tell all our buyers, which is, you should be looking at least a 5-year time horizon at this point to hold this house, to make sure that you do not get hurt. Okay. Sellers, my advice to you guys is to get that house looking the best you can. And we are really good at doing that for you. I've got somebody that plays point for me on that, that's been with me 14 years and done at least 300, 400 homes probably now, right? So we have the crews, we have everything in place, and we can make this real easy, real hassle-free on you and create more to your bottom line, okay? And of course, if you don't want to do that, if you want to try to sell your house off market, give us a call. We'll try to do that for you. We can work with you however you want, but we know if top dollar is what you want, then the best thing you can do is go to the market and let us make it look great and do the right kind of marketing for you to create the most demand for you, and let our 35 years of negotiations or more, our skill level, work for you to get you top dollar. Okay. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about is what's been holding you up, sellers. Okay. What has really been holding you up? Well, I talk to people a lot, and right now my phone's been ringing a lot. So I know that there's going to be, I know this, there's certainly more people thinking about moving right now than there was last year at this time. I think as a seller, people are sensing, the high appreciation's over, possibly it's going to roll over, but where do I go? What's my taxes going to be? Well, we do have some solutions for you. I've been talking with a lot of people in the wealth management business and tax specialists and stuff like that. Things we've never really had to worry about before for our residential customers, right? But people have made so much money on their houses over the years, especially the people that have owned them and been in the family for 25, 30 years. There's some massive tax consequences for a lot of you guys. So we have strategies that we can help get in place for you by putting you together with the right people so that you can defer your capital gains for quite a while. Even though it's your personal residence, there's all kinds of strategies out there that most CPAs are not aware of. They don't do these strategies, and these are proven strategies that have been tested in court. Some have been around for 20 years or more. So there are things out there that you probably haven't heard of that we can help you with and put you together with the right advisors. And maybe this will make more sense for you to sell now versus waiting. Okay, so if we can help you out there, give us a call. We're going to see both you guys, buyers and sellers, in about 2 weeks. Will that be after Thanksgiving? I think it will. So in the meantime, enjoy your holiday, and we'll see you on the next Tustin Talks. Thanks.